We'll look at using the data recovery advisor in 11G. So here I have an 11G database and one data file is missing. I actually removed it to simulate loss of data file. So if what happens when we try to start up the database, it will report that a data file is missing and the database will not open. So when it finds a non-critical data file missing, you have two options. You can do recovery immediately, or you can take that data file offline, open up the rest of the database, and then restore and recover that file while the rest of the database is in operation. Now in this case we will take the simpler option, where we are not opening up the database, we are just recovering the data file. So we're going to look at the data recovery advisor to do that. Now there are three commands in the data recovery advisor: list failure, advise failure, and repair failure. You cannot run them in the wrong sequence, right? So you have to run them in the correct sequence. So let me do that. List failure first. Okay, so it says one or more system data files are missing. Then I say advise failure, and it gives me the recovery options. So in this case, when I issue the advise failure command, it said okay, this manual action is not available, but there are other methods I can do. If the file was unintentionally removed or renamed, I can restore it, or I could try a flush redo to a standby and switch over to the standby. Now in this case, let's assume that I don't have a standby and I don't want to switch over to the standby. So here it says okay, restore and recover data file 4, which can be executed as an automated option, and actually creates a script file for us. Let's see what the script file is. So the script file says restore data file 4, recover data file 4, and then bring it online. So it just shows us the RMAN commands which can be executed automatically or manually. I could take this script file, add some logging information, add some tracing information if I want, document it, and then execute it manually. So that is one way I could do that. So I could capture it in my documentation, or I could just have it run automatically from RMAN, which I'm going to demonstrate here. Okay, so it shows this is the command that will be issued. Do I want to continue? So it starts restoring one file from the backup and then starts media recovery after that. Let me just scroll up here. After saying yes, I want to recover, it started restoring that data file back to the location. Once the restore is completed, it recovers the data file. Remember, the next command is the recover data file. So it recovers the data file by applying all the transactions from the archive logs or the online redo logs. These are archive logs, and then finally there would be online redo logs, which it doesn't show here, but it would actually apply in the background for us. And then it brings the data file online. So now it says since the database is not open, it even allows me to open the database. Yeah, the database is open now, so I can log in as a normal user and query. So this was the data recovery advisor in 11GR2. There are three commands. You cannot issue them out of turn, so you can't use advise failure without doing a list failure. So I issued a list failure. It shows me what the failure is. The non-system data file. System data files would be system and undo tablespace files. Then I asked him for advice on the failure, that is, give me advice on what are the recovery options. So it showed me that the recovery option, I could either switch to a standby if I want to, or I could restore and recover the data file. And for the restore and recover, it actually generates a script for me, which I can execute manually if I want to. If I say I don't want to execute manually, I want RMAN to do the recovery, I issue a repair failure command, and then it executes the script for me, restores the data file, recovers the data file, brings it online, and then allows me to open the database. So that's the data recovery advisor in 11G.